No? Okay. Hello, everyone. Right, well, I think everyone's joined now, so we'll get started. Thank you for joining. Before I do start, if anyone has got any suggestions at any point, just type in a message in the chat icon and it'll pop into everyone or just to myself, and we can try and cover that as well within this webinar. But what I'm going to focus on firstly within this webinar is lead scoring, high value URLs, and how to build out a journey in order to put those lead scores in marketing lists and also trigger an email based on that submission. So a lot of you will be familiar with this. If I go into the settings tab and scroll down, this is within our own marketing portal, you'll see there we've got our lead scoring. So we'll have set up bespoke lead scores to yourselves when you've first been set up and trained. However, at any point you can go in and edit these. So you'll see where we've got emails opens and emails clicks. If I click on this edit button here, this puts the editing option and I can now start to change these. So you'll see at the minute we've actually changed opens to 0 because we're not going to score them. Often I would say maybe keep it at 1. You can change clicks. Web page hit is basically when they've come from that particular email as well. We've got a repeat visit. So let's say they've clicked on an email in the past and a day or so later they come back to your website from Google. So we might score those a little bit higher because the chances are they've thought about your email, they've thought about you as a brand, so they've come back. So that's quite a good score to have. We've got high value web pages and then hit goal URL. So when it comes to the high value pages, and I'll show you some examples, what I always tend to suggest is whatever you would deem as something that would, deem that content then quite engaged. So maybe you've got case studies on your website. So people are not only looking at you as a company, they're trying to find out more about you as well, about what you do, your services. So anything on your website that you would deem quite highly engaging content, I would suggest having as a high value URL. A hit goal URL is slightly different. So I would suggest here having it where it's maybe a submission. So if you've got gated content, if you've got contact us forms on there, I would suggest having a higher score on there. Maybe perhaps this is your highest lead score as well. So for us, if someone books a demo perhaps, we want to give them the highest lead score possible, so we might put in a 20. And all of that then adds up. So you'll also see 2 sections here, which is the score threshold. So if you are making use of the telemarketing tab, which a lot of you are mainly using CRMs, you can set that here. But what we'll mainly do is set that up within a journey, which I will also cover. To add in your high value URLs and your goal URLs, you can see here's a full list. So here are goal URLs. Here are high value URLs. At any point, I can go in and click the plus icon. And all I do when I click the plus icon, I just paste in that URL, add it. I can go in, edit existing ones. I can also delete them. Now you might have noticed, if I just show you some of them have a percentage sign in. So what that does is that acts as a wildcard. So within my URL, if the domain might change quite often, or if you want to select multiple domains, so if I just show you here, where I've got this 5 things guide, if I put in a percentage sign after that, it would just wildcard it for the rest of the site, which means if they visit lots and lots of different subpages, I only need to enter one URL as opposed to entering every single subpage, if that makes sense. Same on the actual goal URLs as well. So you can see on our goal URLs, we've got lots of thank you pages, download pages, thanks pages. All of those are in there because there are thanks, there are submissions, so we want those to be classed as the highest lead score. Let's scroll down again, look, and that's why we're deeming those particular contacts as a lead score of 20. So what that means is then, if I open an email, for us we're saying 0, but if I've clicked, I'm going to get 1 point. Maybe if I'm looking around the website, I might gain another 3 points because I've looked at maybe the home page. Then perhaps I've gone to a case study, I've gained another 10 points. If I've then submitted something, I'm well above 30, so that's then my submission straight into either a CRM or a trigger to say, right, the sales team, this person's now highly engaged, they're ready to be called. Any queries on this particular section so far? Brilliant. What I would then suggest for those lead scores, to keep track of them, I would create a journey now. And within this journey, this is where I want to segment my data, and I want it to constantly be updating. Because remember, with lead score, it's always based on your previous 30 days of activity. So anything that happened over a month ago, that's now classed as 0. It's still in the portal, you can still see it as part of that particular contact, but it's now obsolete. It's only ever the previous 30 days. So if I then click on new journey, let's call it lead score journey. And you'll have seen you've got 2 enrollment settings. Now, usually when you're sending out your email campaigns, you would only add contacts to the journey the first time they meet the start audience filter. Because lead score is always changing, this is one of those moments where you'll want to add the contacts to the journey every time they meet the start audience criteria. So that means if I do reach a lead score, but it drops off, I'm able to come back in once I've reached that particular score again. So what I would do here, let's do 30, because like I say, it's always a 30 days. Leave it at 0 hours and click save. What I would then do with my start audience then, so I'm going to drag across my start audience. And like I say, often you'd probably use lead score. You'd probably use a marketing list to set off your campaigns. In this instance, this is where I want to actually select lead score. And if you don't know already, if you just simply type in the bit that you're looking for, it will automatically take you. So rather than scrolling through all of these different options, just start to type it and it'll take you straight to lead score. And then what I'm going to say is the lead score greater or equal to 30? And you might have noticed this little button here. If I click refresh, that will show me all of those contacts that are going to go through this journey. You can make this more complicated as well. So if you've got specific lists that you only want to target, you can add that within the start audience criteria. So at the minute, this is absolutely everybody. But I might want to say, right, I don't want people internally to get added to this list. So I might add a group. I might say not. And I'm saying, if anyone's in a particular marketing list, I'll just put test in there, but this might be my internal list. I'm going to exclude those. And I might also want to include specific lists. So within my actual first, if I drag that up here, I might only want to include my main prospecting list, for example. I'll just put a test list in there for now. So all I'm saying there is, have they reached a lead score of greater than 30? And are they in my prospecting list? And also they're not in my internal list. And what that would do is just filter those contacts out. It just means that, especially when it comes to internal, you're always looking at the website, you'll always be building up that lead score. It just means you won't be triggering yourself again and again. So it's quite good to do. If I then click on save, my start audience is done. What I want to do now is I want to instantly add those people to a list as soon as they've reached that particular criteria. So in this instance, I'm going to drag across action. So there we go, drag across action. This time, I'm going to add to a marketing list. It's just loading those up now. So I might call my list within this stage lead score 30. Then my list, I might actually call that as well, lead score 30 plus. There we go. I'll create a new one. You don't have to have the list already created. You can just then click enter. That will create a marketing list for you on the fly as well. And you can see here it just says, the list, lead score 30 plus, does not exist and will be created when you click confirm. Boom. And all I do then is connect those 2 elements together. What I'm going to do then, I'm just going to wait 30 days now before I do anything again with these lists. So I'll select my delay time, name that 30 days as well so it's super clear within the journey, and then pop those together as well. And then I'm going to make a decision now because I need to be able to take those people in and out of the list depending on their lead score. So again, I'll change my make decision stage to instant because I've already put a delay time in there. I'm going to select lead score again, greater or equal to 30. Oh, press back, sorry. I'll just do that again. And then lead score greater or equal to 30. And again, now I've got that yes or no decision stage. So is their lead score still above 30? If yes, I don't need to do anything with those guys. They're going to continue to be in that list. If their lead score is deteriorated, this is now where I want to remove those people from that lead score 30 plus list. So I'm going to drag across my action. This time select remove from marketing list. type in lead score 30 plus, there's my list I've just created, and connect that up to now. And then I need to have an end journey, so I'm going to pop that there as well. So what this is saying is now every 30 days, every contact that reaches a lead score, that's going to go through. So if at any point, at any time, a contact reaches that lead score of 30, they will begin on this journey. They'll instantly get added to that list. It'll wait 30 days for that contact. That's when it'll make the decision whether they're still engaged, and it will remove them. So that means then, like I say, if they have been removed, it gives you still the opportunity to pop them back in within your prospecting list, and continue to re-engage them, nurture them, and hopefully get them straight back into this lead score 30 plus pot to trigger you to call them again. So once you're happy with that journey, all you need to do is click start. That will load up the journey, and like I said, that's instantly segmenting your data. All making sense so far? No questions? Cool. So one of the other things we get asked quite often is, how do we get triggered? How do we find out about these people that have actually reached this lead score? So obviously you can log into the platform, you can take a look at that particular contact. So eventually you'd have people, I'll start the journey to start to trigger people in. No, in fact I won't. You can basically go in, look at your data, you're able to then look at these contacts. So if I look at one of our other marketing lists, I've got a test list. Have a look at this one. I can then view the report, and then this is where I can start to look at this lead score list from an analysis point of view, so I can see how many contacts I've got in within this list, how many active emails. I can see if I'm syncing these. So you might not know this, you can sync particular lists, so your Google AdWords and your Google Facebook accounts, your Facebook ads accounts, so you can sync this marketing list directly with your search platforms. I can start seeing engagement timeline of these people as well. I can see their average lead score, the member count timeline. So within this list, I'll see when it's going up and down, which gives me a really good view of how often these people are being engaged. We want to see this list constantly going up and up and up. And then we'll also see a little bit about the campaign summary as well, the web activity stats, the average lead score, and then also some browser analysis, which might be quite good when it comes to your analysis further down the line. So all of these people, how are they engaging? All of your engaged contacts, how are they actually engaging? What are they engaging with? And at the very bottom, you'll also see those people within the platform. What I'm going to do then is, if I don't just want to log in each time, what I can do is, with the tool that's called Zapier, you can actually set up an email trigger to always send you the people that are added to that list. So it means as soon as someone reaches that lead score, we can pop them in that list, that then is sent to Zapier, and it will trigger an email directly to you. And I'll show you that now. So if you're not familiar with this, you can create your own Zapier account. You can have free accounts. Or if you want us to set up triggers, we have our own Zapier account that we're more than happy to set up these particular apps up for you. Just obviously get in touch and we'll do that. So this is the interface, and this is our Force 24. So you'll see that I can select a Force 24 trigger. And you've got lots of triggers as well. So I can do it when a contact's updated, a brand new contact, whether they've been removed or whether they've been added to a list. So right now we want to do it when a contact's been added to a particular list. So I'm going to click Save and Continue. What it'll say then, it'll just ask you for your account. So obviously it's our Force 24 account, so I'll select that. If you do need to sign up, all you need to do is enter your login details to connect up your Force 24 account. It'll then edit options. It'll say, what's your marketing list GUID? So your marketing list GUID, if I just show you on this screen again, it appears in your URL, and you'll see within your URL, you've got a super long code here. All you do is copy and paste that code, pop it in here, and that knows then to associate it to that particular list. Click Continue, and I can wait for some samples, and it'll pull through some samples directly from the platform. And you can see what that sample is as well. So I'm going to click Continue now. What I want to do now is add a step. So what happens when a contact's been added to that list? It's going to be an action in this instance. I'm going to trigger an email. Now I've already sunk up my Outlook. I think it's Office 365. There we go. So I'm going to select Office 365 because that's what we use. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send an email. So save and continue. select my Outlook account, make sure it's still connected, success. And it's going to send an email from my actual account. I can say who I want it to send to. So I might add in Stephen here. And I can add multiple people as well. So I might also want to get a copy of it to myself. And I can also determine whether or not I want to CC people into it as well, and also blind CC. So if I want to send it to a bunch of people, but I don't want to use getting it, I can do that as well. Within the subject line, I probably tend to make it very clear what this is. So, I can put first name, and that will pull through the first name from the portal, has reached a lead score. And then the body is where I want to put all of these details in. So what I'll do, if I click on this icon in the top right, insert a new field, I can put directly into here exactly what the data is going to say. So I might detail first name. And all this is doing is determining what's sent in that email. And obviously I might want to include what lead score they've reached to give me an idea on how engaged they are, which is the scroll down. You can see all of the fields we've got within the system here. And you can see we've got lots. Can't find lead score. Where is it? There we go. And then what's also quite clever, and what I like to do is also provide a link directly to the platform. And if I just go back in here and click on a person, so if I just show you, if I click on Live, within the platform, you can see directly, this is the URL, this is the activity URL here. If I take this URL, what it means is I can go directly to that contact, but you'll see again there's a unique ID. If I get rid of that ID, I can use the ID from the platform, which is here, contact ID. That will then make it unique to each person. So from your perspective, you'll get this email, it'll come straight through to your inbox, and then what that means is you can click directly on that link and look at that particular person straight away. So you don't have to go in, search for them, just click, and then you're there. Then all I do is click send test, and that's it. That Zap is now set up. So every time someone reaches a lead score, automatically added to a marketing list in Force 24, automatically then sent an email to say X has reached lead score. So it just gives you the ability to be instantly on it by those contacts. And then, like I say, you'll go back to this screen instantly. So if I take a look at Liv, I can then see, right, what's she done? I can see instantly, yes, she's reached a lead score of 343 now. What has she been doing now? How many emails has she opened? How many has she clicked? I can see everything that she's actually subscribed to. I could find her on LinkedIn, so as long as you're logged in, it would take you directly to Liv's page on LinkedIn, so you could take a little bit more detail about her, what she's doing, where she's working, where she worked previously. Same with Twitter if you wanted to do that. I can also see then all of the data I've got stored against her, what she's subscribed to. So if you're making use of subscription preferences, I can see what she's actually wanting to receive from us, and all of the different marketing lists that she can be active in. Now, say, remember, with marketing lists, you exist once in the system. So Liv's email list is once, but you can be part of as many different lists as you like. It's all good because you're wanting to do that segmentation. And the activity tab's probably where it goes into greater detail, and it'll be more of use to you guys. So, you can look at that. I can see, what she's been looking from. So, she's mainly on her desktop. She's mainly on Apple Mail, or she's mainly looking at the campaign history. I can see when she's opening these emails. So here we go, 7th of March, she opened these at 6:10 last night. What did she download? There we go, she requested our quick pitch book. And can see she went on a testing campaign as well. And I can see all of that detail, when she's opened, when she's actually clicked as well. So you can see she's clicked 2 different times here. If I scroll down even further, I can then also see her web activity. And what's quite nice here is I can see whether she's come from an email or whether it's direct. So I can see the URL, what time, is it a direct visit? Yes. Is it a goal URL? Yeah, therefore she's received these points. So then when you're actually making this call based on that lead score, I can get greater insight into the contact and see what they've actually been doing. So in our instance, I'm like, I can see you looked at the quick pitch guide, perhaps. You might want to go into detail of what they've been looking at, because it might scare the contact a little bit, but you can get a greater insight of what kind of products they're looking at and where they might sit in your customer segmentation. And all of that activity goes way back. So the longer you have the account, obviously, I can go right back to Liv in 2015 and see what she's actually been looking at. and here she was opening emails and direct email visits around here as well. So all of that will be complete in the system. You'll have a full access to their entire history. Any questions on this particular section so far, or any other suggestions? Please do shout as well. If not, I'll move on. I'll just give you a couple of seconds to submit anything. Okay, no other questions on that so far? Perfect. So another suggestion was mainly about the campaign results and what you can do with them. So if I go on to your campaigns, you'll see that you've got two different places of where campaign results are stored. Your campaigns is basically where you've got your batch and blast campaign. So if you're creating one email, sending it to one marketing list, they will all sit in your campaigns. And you'll see obviously the name, how many it's queuing up to, how many people it's sending to, opens and clicks. And obviously if I click report, I can delve further into that. And it's the same with automated campaigns as well. So all of that sits in here. You'll see what your journey is, the send stages. So again, like I always say, always rename that send email stage so you know which particular email it is. And it'll group them all together, basically. If I want to delve further into this then, so if I show you our productivity webinar, for example, I can see how many people actually went to it, how many it's opened, clicked, any bounces that we might have got through it, and any unsubscribes. I can then see that we sent 2 plain text follow-ups. So who did we send them to as well? And did we still get enough opens and clicks from that? So then if I click on view report, this is where I can delve much further now into the results. So again, I can still very quickly see what the campaign name was, what my subject line was, when it was actually created, and any tags I've put on it. So tags are quite useful when it comes to reporting because you might tag up like lots of newsletters, for example, which means eventually you can then just search on newsletters. And I'll come on to that in a little bit as well. But on the campaign stats then, this is where it just goes into greater detail. But what's really nice is I can actually export and search on these people. So what might be quite interesting really is hard bounces. So you've got your data pot, but why have they hard bounced? I can click on that, I can search on the contacts, and it will take me to the contact search and show me who's actually hard bounced. So it might be that these people have left, they're old contacts. It just gives you the ability to look at them. And if I go back onto the report page, you'll also see, if I click on it again, I've got the ability to export that straight into an Excel file. So that will export it into a CSV file, meaning I can then look at the contacts. And if I know there's a simple change, all I need to do then is tweak the email address, re-upload the data, and it will just create a brand new contact for it instead. Same with unsubscribe. So if I'm wanting to filter these out and perhaps I need to keep a log of them, I can again still export and insert those particular contacts as well. E-commerce stats is really for the B2C world. So if you've got, you can purchase through the site. We've got a piece of tracking code that we can apply to your website. So if anyone is purchasing, I can attribute certain costs and your return on investment basically to this campaign. But again, when it comes to the journeys, if you're sending at all different times of the week and all different days, what's really cool is I can start to get a really good view of when's the best time to send, what's the best day. So we know we sent this out Tuesday, so obviously we know this is going to be a bit skewed. But if we did send it all week, we would see all of those, all this bar chart peaking at different times. And same with the link report as well, so I can see how many total clicks. So 14 people clicked on this particular link here, and some went straight to our website. We've got an engagement timeline as well, so I can see if this campaign's still active and when was our peak time, and also a bit more on the bounce analysis, which is quite interesting. So on this one, we've only had a couple of hard bounces, which is good, but it just gives you a quick view of how your data set's performing. And with the browser analysis as well. So we know that a lot of people actually open on a desktop, and in this world, this day and time and age, people tend to open on mobile. So that's quite interesting for us, and it means we should be tailoring the way we actually build our emails and design them to be set for a particular desktop, rather than thinking about mobile or thinking about something first. And then same with the browser types as well. Let's scroll to the top. And then if I go to your campaigns, when I was mentioning about tags, when you tag up your campaigns, if I go on campaign groups, this is where I can then filter those further. So you can look at all your marketing campaigns, and I can see how many marketing campaigns I've got versus transactional. But if I go on maybe perhaps, let's just click on strategy, I can see how many retention campaigns I've sent out. What it's doing when you're tagging up, it groups them all together. So if I look at message style or CTA, look at this one here. So I can test then CTAs. So I can say, what do I get? Do I get as many clicks from more info, book demo, or read more or view more? And I can see those clicks then directly in here. So in our instance, book demo performs extremely well. So it suggests to us that yes, this is the kind of CTAs we should be looking at. And then if I scroll across, we can also see the other types of tags we've put in there as well. So you might do it when you're sending at different times of the day. So we've got here weekday after 6, weekday before 6. I can see the recipients, and I can see when we're getting those opens and clicks. So that's also a really cool way of being able to see very quickly of the best times and days you should be sending out your campaigns. And if I do click on View Report, what that'll do is it groups them all together, it shows you all those marketing lists, and again, it just gives you a complete overview then of all those people. So I can be like, right, I want to look at all of those particular opens. What it's doing now is filtering that data, and it's going to export those straight into a CSV file. And I'll close that because it's quite a lot of context, so that's going to take a while. Any other questions on this so far? Please do pop up, or if there's any other suggestions, just give me a shout right now. But if not, that's pretty much everything that I want to cover today. If you do have any questions, obviously feel free to drop myself. Oh, hang on, what's this message? So, hello Cleo. Yeah, no, image question. Oh, image library, yeah, go on. Yes, so in terms of an image library then, so it's not something it's not something you have as an image library in the system. No, it's everything's based on snippets. So in your platform, we will have created lots and lots of different snippets where you've got the ability to edit text or drag in your own images. But if at any point you're going to use that same image again and again, you do have the ability to save that snippet out. So if I go on edit into my actual template, so let's say I know I'm going to use this all the time. What I can do is I can click on layout, hover over it, and then I can add that. So you can see the little plus icon. If I click on that, I can either add it to a category, which I might do as one column. I might add it also to my favourites. If I then click save, what that does is just creates a brand new snippet for you, and then that will appear here now. So it gives me quick access. And if I do add it to my favourites, I can click on my favourites icon, and there it will be for me to quickly drag and drop at any point. So yeah, the more you use it, the more you add in, just quickly, always remember to quickly save out as a snippet, make life much easier for you as time goes on. Any other questions? So in terms of folders on image snippets then, so it's a little bit different. We always recommend tagging. So what you do is you tag. So you can see here are different options. So I might have got marketing snippets, for example. So these are all my snippets that I deem as marketing. Or I know I've got demo snippets in there. So I might click on demo, and then that shows those particular snippets. And I can also tag them up multiple times. And the way that you tag them is if I go onto my snippets, this shows you every single snippet you've got within the system saved. So you can obviously delete any snippets if you don't want them anymore, or you can just tag them up. So if I click on this plus icon, tag on that, that's now tagged as marketing. So rather than having folders, we suggest tagging it up, which means you can then very quickly search on those tags in the system. No problem. Any other questions or requests? Okay. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up there for today then. Obviously, you've got your account manager details as well. If you do want to get in touch with anyone or send us an email, pop an intercom or give us a call if you do have any other questions. But I'll wrap it up here. We do this every 2 weeks, so we'll be sending out an invite probably by next week, along with a video to this particular webinar if you do want to watch it again, as well as a lot of our older webinars. But for now, I'll speak to you all soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye.